My boy Jamma Montana.
Yeah, man. Pretty cool, isn't it? I'm just as surprised as you are, Brian.
Yeah.
But my good buddy Tay put in a good word for me at her record label, so looks like I'm off to Hollywood, start my new career.
I've really loved having you around. Joe Show, big success. So, hey, many props to you. I cannot believe this thing's taken off, but hey, you got to pursue your dream, right?
That's right. I mean, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Oh, your phone's ringing. But hey, Joe, best of luck,
Hey,
man.
thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Hello? Oh, hey, Taylor. Yeah. I'm all set to come out right now. What? Seriously? Oh, okay. Well, thanks anyways. Well, looks like I'm not going to Hollywood after all. So how about an all-new tournament edition of The Joe Show? Because episode 8 starts right now. Well, Travis and I had a chance to go down and watch the girls' state tournament last weekend. Got to follow Loudonville to their appearance in the Final Four. So I guess we're going to kind of maybe do a little bit of wrap up on the girls' state tournament, and we'll start with that Loudonville-Waterford game.
Yeah, it was a fun time down there. We saw some good basketball, not what Virginia put up in the first half, last night in the first four, but we actually saw some competitive basketball at the UD Arena. And we will start with Loudonville making their first appearance since 1992, second ever appearance in a Final Four, but kind of like Virginia, they just couldn't hit any shots. They had some open looks in the first half against Waterford. They were down 11 at the break. Actually, they were down 12 at the break. Played really good defensively. They forced 26 turnovers in the game, but they just couldn't hit a shot until the fourth quarter. And even then, they had a comeback, and they kind of had a chance there, Joe.
Yeah,
both of us were impressed by the defense.
They got it to 7, I think, at one time,
Yes.
but just never could get over the hump. That, sometimes you dig a hole so deep that you can't get out of it. I mean, the big thing I think we mentioned this after the game, and even talked with the Coach Bates here. If you would have had those stats at the end of the game, you're looking at the stats, you go 26 turnovers, we're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
But the big thing, giving Waterford credit, they did not allow a lot of those turnovers to become easy baskets. No. And as you mentioned, Loudonville just struggled shooting the basketball till really late in the game. They made some threes late, kind of got back into it, but just could never get out of that hole.
When you shoot 17% in the first quarter, 18% in the second quarter, and 17% in the third quarter, it's tough to come back. Despite that, 13-5 at second quarter was the difference in that game. Waterford was 4 of 5 from the field. Loudonville only 2 of 11. That gave them that little, little boost. And then, despite the fourth quarter comeback, the Lady Birds just unable to pull off the victory. However, in her final senior game, her final game at Loudonville, Corey Vermilia, 13 points, 13 rebounds, 5 steals, 2 assists, 2 blocks. So the runner-up for Miss Basketball, despite, that's a number that some people would think, oh, that's a great number, but for her,
Yeah, and we were sitting there thinking that she didn't play real well, but she kind of proves the value that she had to that basketball team. And, of course, congratulations to Loudonville on a tremendous season. I mean, there's only 4 teams in Division IV that get there, and you were one of them. So I'm sure they're disappointed that they didn't make it to the finals and weren't able to bring home a state championship, but to get there, and just the memories of this season, going 26-3, that's going to be something that they're going to remember for a long, long time. Yeah,
and I will actually have a video recapping from their district championship game to the state semifinal. We'll have that out Thursday or Friday morning, one of the two, but we have a all-access video that we will be showing you. Now, for Waterford, they had 2 main scores. Kendall Suri, their guard, 17 points, but the big player, Avery Wagner, had a double-double. Their inside presence, 6'3", I believe, 6'3" or 6'4".
And her length,
post.
her length caused a lot of problems around the rim for Loudonville when they got into the paint. Although she didn't maybe block a lot of shots, just that length really influenced a lot of things.
She had 12 points and 15 rebounds. Now, the state champ will go on to the championships on Saturday and start with D4. The difference in that one, Fort Loramie against Waterford, that was number 1 Fort Loramie versus number 6 Waterford. Fort Loramie was able to hold Wagner to only 3 points. That's the difference. Surrey still had her 19 points. However, she did have 3 fouls in the first half, and that allowed Fort Loramie to pull away a little bit, led by Avery Brandywine, who had 2 really good... Brandywee, yes. Brandywee, who had 2 really good games in the state semifinal and state championship game, as number 1 gets another state championship.
Well, in Fort Loramie, I think that's their 4th state title, and they've won them all since 2013. Interesting little fact, though, that there is that Carlos Siegel, their coach, is actually somebody I taught in junior high at Fort Loramie. So I've known Carlo for a long time, and I kind of laughed at the beginning of the season. I think, well, she got her 500th win a year ago, so she was going to get a ring this year at the state tournament. And we were emailing back and forth about, you know, the things, and she sent me an email and said, hey, just to let you know, she said, I've got a Brandywee on my team this year. If you know anything about Fort Loramie, Brandewee's a common name and usually pretty good players. And I said, that's going to be really good for you. And it proved to be really good for the Fort Loramie Redskins. That's a special place. I was there for 4 years, and really special place that they've had great success, not just in girls basketball, boys basketball over the years, and then, you know, in really all their sports programs.
And Fort Loramie does a really good basketball, like a holiday tournament, do they not?
Yeah, they do. They do. I think it's that weekend of Martin Luther King that they've had some really good matchups. In fact, a year ago we went down and saw Lex play St. Mary's when they still had the big kid. I think Willard played in that. So yeah, they do a one-day event that's like 5 games. It's pretty cool.
So congratulations to Fort Loramie. I guess for Joe Balogh, if it wasn't Loudonville, at least it's a team that he knows closely gets the state championship. Now on to the D3 championship, Ottawa Glandorf and Afrocentric. Afrocentric, we saw a team, you know, Centerburg in the district final, played them close for a half. Centerburg then Afrocentric pulled away. It was kind of the same thing here in the state championship game. Afrocentric winning 58-47 over OG. They had 5 players in double figures. I mean, this is Afrocentric, a team that we always know. They had McDonald's All-American a couple years ago that went on to D1 basketball. But that's just, you think about Afrocentric, you think about great players, and you think about balance.
Well, and this is their 9th state championship
That's a lot.
in girls basketball, and they've all came since 2007. And it's the most in girls basketball history. So Afrocentric has a great basketball tradition here in girls basketball, and it was kind of one of those games as you watched. I don't know if it was ever really in doubt, but OG kept kind of hanging around just enough that it got maybe to like 7 or 5, but they just couldn't get the next stop in the next basket to kind of really put the pressure on Afrocentric. So, you know, Afrocentric again dominating the D3 state championship.
Both teams made 21 field goals in that game. However, OG 0-4 from 3, Afrocentric 3 of 6. OG 5 of 12 from the charity stripe. Afrocentric 13 of 14. That's the number right there. The charity stripe was the difference in this again. And I mean, it doesn't matter if you're one of the best in the state or not. If you don't make your free throws, you're probably gonna lose the game.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the stats as a coach that you usually look at is who makes the most free throws in a game, and that's usually the team that wins. And when you're able to go 13 of 14 as a team, that's outstanding.
All right, moving on to the Division II championship and the MS basketball, deserving as well for the second straight year, Dean Alexander and Purcell Marion. But I think she wasn't by far the best player on the court for Purcell Marion because they have so many good players out there. They had 3 or 4 players that were lighting it up, and they had 3 players in double figures. Alexander with 18. Kyara Miller with 18, and Samaya Wilkins also had 17. They are a squad, and they're young still, too. D. Alexander's coming back one more year. They won the Division III title. They won the Division II title this year, and you never know. If some votes go the right way, we may see Purcell Marion jump up to D1 and have a chance of winning a D1 championship because they are that good.
Well, and D. Alexander's that good, too. I think we made the comment that there's a couple players that were on that court that in 5 or 6 years you might be seeing play in the WNBA. I mean, they won a title in Division III 3 years ago. The last two now have been in Division II. They're the first team to win 3 state titles in girls since Kettering Alder did it back in 2015 through 2017. So, you know, but and as you said, they're still young. I mean, they have what I think is 6'4" freshman that looked like she could probably be on a college roster.
Yeah.
And then they surround that with some perimeter people that can really shoot the basketball. So, Jamar Mosley, he's got kids coming back, and they're going to be a team to contend with, whether they're D2 or whether they're well, depending on what the enrollment is and stuff. But in that, what happens with that referendum? But whatever division they're in, they're going to be probably the favorite to win that division again next year.
And then on the other side, Shaker Heights Laurel in the semifinal, we have a highlight of it. That was an amazing game with Fairland, the number 2 team in the state, where Fairland fouled with 0.2 seconds left, down 2, makes the first free throw, second misses, gets Laurel to the championship game, and Sanaya Hall. She was the game high, 21 points, 14 rebounds, and this is another team that's young as well. And you said there's a couple players out there could be WNBA worthy players.
Sanaya Hall's the other player that I think every major D1 in the country's been recruiting her. So a lot of talent there with Laurel also, but you also really feel for the girl from Waterford. That's a tough way, to lose a game, had a chance to put it in overtime.
For Fairland, yes.
Excuse me if I'm sorry for not getting confused, but for Fairland. And I know John Buchanan, their coach, a little bit, has done a great job there. But a great effort on their part. That was that was probably one of the better games that we saw all weekend.
And I do have to give that girl, I forget her name, but I do have to give her credit, because after the game, she still went up into the press conference room. She answered every single question with poise, and you have to respect that out of somebody that young. I mean, if I would have I wouldn't have had a chance to hit those free throws if it was me even taking them. But then after that, to even go up there and talk, that's a lot of respect for that. That's what you want to see out of a coach.
Well, I mean, sometimes fans just look at winning and losing, and there's so many other lessons that can be learned, and that's a tough lesson to learn. But how do you face adversity? You face it head on, and she did that at that press conference.
Yeah, and the official attendance for that D2 game was, I think, 1,900. We both had it down at about 1,300. Let me see if there's an actual. It's not on here. Anyway, we had a little wager that we had. We're not going to say what it was for or anything, but we were thinking it was around 1,000, because the next game had about 6,000 people in there. Springboro and Olmsted Falls, which was the best out of the 4 games. An amazing back and forth game. Bryn Martin, who ended up 1 point. She broke the Division I semifinal record with 38 points. She had 22 in the final, 1 point from a woman named Jody Roth that we know here in North Central Ohio from Shelby. I was just up there at practice while the boys getting ready for the Final Four, and in the trophy case, they have a big old section out there for Miss Roth, but she put up 60 points, 22 points a game high. But Olmsted Falls, 10 of 28 from 3. They hit 10 threes in the semifinal victory over Magnificat, which was the number 2 team in the state. Just a great shooting performance by Olmsted Falls. It was back and forth. They fell down by a couple field goals. Then they hit a couple threes, come back, and then in the fourth quarter they hit a couple shots and just used that momentum to win a state championship.
Well, and they were runners up a year ago, so I'm sure they marked this, that we wanted to get back and win it. And they had a player that also had an outstanding tournament in Danielle Cameron, who I think scored 19 both nights. Really solid team. Jordan Eaton, the head coach, has got to be extremely happy after, you're disappointed of not winning it a year ago, and then able to come back with a lot of the same players and win it again. Says a lot about that team, because sometimes that's really hard to do when you have a talented team, is to come back and get to that point again. Give yourself a chance to win it, and give them a lot of credit that they were able to do that.
And then Springboro, like I said, Bryn Martin finished with 22. She's a junior. That was a team making their first ever state championship appearance. They have a lot coming back, so maybe they were unranked going in. They were one of a couple unranked squads too. So use that momentum, maybe get back to the state Final Four next year. But I know it's really tough to get back to. But with some of these teams that lost in the championship games, they're young, and some didn't, like a Laurel or a Springboro. You didn't really expect them to make it there, but now they're on that radar.
Yeah, and then the thing you have to remember when you have a team coming back like that is, as a coach, you're concerned as how hungry will you be? Are you just going to be satisfied that you got there, which apparently Olmsted Falls was not, that those kids still had a desire and hunger, and I'm sure improved a lot from the end of the tournament last year till they won it this year. And that's what it takes. It takes a lot of hard work, and hard work's not going to guarantee you success, but if you don't work hard, the chances for success are not going to be very good.
All right, there we have it, the state Final Four, the girls edition. I'm wearing a baseball hat. Baseball season started this morning at 6 a.m. They have the Soul Series, but we still have boys basketball. This is the first time in OH Report history that we're covering a girls team and a boys team, Shelby Whippets. So you'll be down there. We'll be on press row once again for this coming weekend. A little bit more basketball to go, but for the girls, that was a good way to finish off the season.
I mean, quality state tournament. Congratulations to those 4 champions. That last weekend and this week, I'm sure, been special, and that'll be a feeling that's going to, continue on. But then, if you're those teams that got knocked out, you have that hunger, and it'll be back to work, which I'm sure some of them are right back to work this week.
All right, Joe. Since it's the last episode, as always, it's been a pleasure, sir. Let's do this again next year.
We hopefully, if I'm still around, we'll do it. Welcome back to the Joe Show, and we would like to welcome in Tyler Bates to the studio tonight. Girls basketball coach at Loudonville. The Redbirds just made a run to the Final Four at UD Arena last weekend, and finished the season with a record of 26-3. The 26 wins are the most, I believe, in school history and in Ashland County history. It's the third district championship at Loudonville. The past ones were in '92 and 2001, and then they won the regional championship in 2001. And kind of amazing stat as I took a look, Tyler, was the team averaged almost 68 points a game and only gave up about 32. But even more amazing, averaged like 20 steals a game. And I think really special, you had mentioned this several times, the 4 seniors. They had a record of 89 and 16 over the 4 years. So kind of before we delve into the accomplishments of this team, I always think it's interesting for our viewers to kind of know the journey of a coach. So I guess my first question to you is kind of, when did you know the coaching bug hit you?
Well, when I realized I wasn't going to be a very good college player and definitely wasn't playing professionally, and at the same time thought that I wanted to maybe be a teacher or work in the school, I thought that coaching would be a natural progression to go with that. I was blessed growing up. I had so many good coaches that were mentors to me and taught me a lot, and I felt like along the way, from playing basketball at the Orville Boys and Girls Club all the way up to my work as a student assistant coach at Marietta College, that I was able to take 1 or 2 things from each coach that I had and kind of maybe create my own future and maybe the way that I wanted to do things in the future. And I'm just grateful for all the coaches that I had along the way, because they encouraged me to get into this profession, and I've loved it.
So you got the bug when you were really young.
Yeah,
right?
I got the bug when I was really young. I think when you're done playing, you have to make that decision about, if you really love a sport, what is your role going to be to kind of stay involved in the sport? And for me, it was coaching. And I still, although it's not the same as a player, can quench a little bit of those competitive juices as a coach.
So maybe more specifically, have you always been a girls basketball coach?
No, I started really wanting to coach boys when I was finishing up high school. Early on in college, I coached a lot of boys AAU basketball from my senior year of high school through my first couple of years of college. And then my senior year at Marietta College, I got to work on Coach Schreider and Coach Vivian's women's basketball staff. And the opportunity to do that and work with the women's team for the first time opened some doors for me. It helped me apply for the girls basketball position at Loudonville and kind of get in there as a math teacher and a girls basketball coach. I wasn't sure if I was going to stick with the girls forever, but here we are 11 years later, and it's been a lot of fun.
So basically you got the girls Loudonville job right out of college?
Yeah, so I remember being on our trip for our education department my senior year on a student teaching trip at Marietta and having to apply for jobs. And there were two places I interviewed for teaching jobs. One was at West Holmes and one was at Loudonville. And Loudonville had the girls basketball job with the teaching job. So I just threw my name in for both. I said, hey, I know I'm 22 years old, but I've helped with this college program. I've got some AAU experience. I'd be interested in coaching the girls as well if I could get a teaching position here, and that's kind of how it worked out.
So you've been in Loudonville for 11 years. I think you've won over 200 games there. So let's talk a little bit about this team.
Yeah.
What made this team special?
Well, I remember our banquet last year at the end of March, early April. We usually do a little bit of a conversation with the parents, the players, and the coaches at the end and just address the room, like what do we expect this spring, what do we expect in the summer, and look ahead. We said together as a group, we all need to believe right now that we're going to be playing in the state Final Four next year. And I told them, I said, I think we have the talent in this room. If the coaches work hard, if the players work hard, the families let us coach the kids, support the players, we can make a run here and maybe do something special. And throughout the summer, as we got to the fall in the preseason, we encouraged the girls to speak about their goals. If their goals were to make the Final Four and compete for a state title at the end of the year, we wanted them to openly speak about that. We hadn't done it in 32 years at Loudonville, so if people made fun of them, that was okay. We're not going to shy away from those goals, though. And I just really felt like our leadership from the seniors and juniors, along with the support from the parents, just helped keep pushing us in the right direction throughout the year.
Well, I think when you have kids that state that goal, then from the standpoint as a coach, it makes you hold them accountable, because you're saying, if they're saying this is what we want to have happen, then you're going, in a day of practice, it might be a bad practice, you're not doing what you need to do to get to that point.
And it's great that you say that. We used that example so many times this year. I said, was that district championship effort? Was that regional championship effort? It could be a game where we're winning by 40 and we're not playing very hard defensively in the second half. And maybe some people in the stands are looking at me like, why is coach so upset? Well, I just want us to play to our potential no matter what the score is. There were times where we lost at Warrensville Heights and Akron Ellet where I felt like we really competed. And even though we didn't win, I'm like, if we can play like we did in the second quarter of this game in the tournament, we're going to be in good shape. So, that's important that you do state those goals and that we're all on the same page. God bless our parents. I didn't have one parent this year in my office complaining about playing time, not a single one. We were united, we had a goal. And to feel that support and to understand what the kids' goals were and feel like all of us were on the same page, it was so cool.
Well, and you've heard this quote too, is a player-coach team is better than a coach-coach team. And maybe you want to talk a little bit about those four seniors, because I'm sure those four seniors were kind of those, they were that players coaching your team.
Yeah, so we ended up with three seniors this year. We had Corey Vermilia, Jenna Williams, and Sophia Spangler. All of them ended up playing a number of games for me over their years, not just during the season at Loudonville, but in AAU basketball and summer events. These are three girls that really took playing basketball at Loudonville seriously. If there was a weight room session, a skill session, conditioning, they were not missing. So right away, when their teammates see how hard those three work, they understand, like, we have to match that level or it's not going to be acceptable. This is what our seniors accept. The other thing that those three seniors added was toughness. Right away, the girls understood if we're a little bit beat up, if we're tired, we're going to suck it up. We've got work to do. And then when it's time to rest, we'll rest and concentrate on that. But all three of our seniors played through injuries this year, fatigue, some challenging ups and downs of the season, and just kept persevering. I told the girls a number of times this year, I should be able to stand on the side, close my eyes, not watch practice, and leave practice and feel like it was a good practice without seeing a drill, because I can hear you communicating and I can hear you running the drills. I'm like, do you really need me here? I said, I'll come to the games and sub. I'm like, but you girls know what you're doing.
Yep.
This is your team. That was our saying all year. This is your team.
Yep.
We're gonna do what you want to do, and just.
Yeah. We talked a lot
Yeah.
about that in my years of coaching. Like seniors, this is your team this year. I mean, you might have been really good as juniors, but the year you're going to remember as senior. You also bring up another point, and I'm not sure who said it. It might have been Bob Hurley, but the idea that at practice some days, just turn your back and close your eyes, and you should be able to hear a good practice. There should be a lot of energy in the gym. So you kind of maybe already alluded to my next question, which was, okay, you start tournament play, and I think was the question was going to be, what was you and your coaching staff's expectation as you started tournament play? And apparently was, hey, we're going to get to the Final Four.
Yeah, and I even wanted the kids at that time saying, you know, we're going to go compete for a state championship. I didn't want us, when we got to the Final Four, to be
Right.
happy and
Yep.
the season's over. We felt like we belonged with those teams. From the summer when we played Fort Laramie, we played Waterford in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
All year, that was kind of our goal, to have a chance to play those teams again. And we knew that no matter what, no matter who the opponent was, we had a job to do. And I was really proud of the kids, because every game that we won, it seemed like less of a big deal for them. I remember winning the district championship in 2021, and it was our first district championship. We had a couple tough losses in the years prior and couldn't get over that hump. It was like we won the Olympic gold medal that day. We were so proud of winning that district championship. And this year when we won the district championship, first off, it was a great game. We had played Mogador early in the season. They made some adjustments. It was a good battle in the district championship. But after the game, it was like our girls were thinking, when's the next practice?
Yep.
When's the next film session? Like, we're supposed to be here. The girls were never satisfied with a certain win. They wanted to just come back to practice the next day, get better, lock into the next scouting report, and that's really how the team was all year.
So you win the district and you win the regional final. What was that feeling like for you, as you know you're going to the state Final Four?
Winning the regional final, I was so happy. It was really an emotional week for me. It's hilarious. My coaches will make fun of me, some of my players. I was crying on the bus on the way to that regional final game. I was bawling my eyes out. My coaches were probably thinking, like, what is wrong with this guy? But I was just thinking about all the old players that I had, you know, that I felt like deserved a chance to play in that game and didn't get to. The old coaches that, you know, worked so hard for us to get to that point, and we're kind of the ones here enjoying it. So just thought of all those people, thought about my kids. You know, I've had 2 kids in the last 2 years, and just, you know, the sacrifices my wife and my family have made, and just then seeing the community support was just tremendous. And so leading up to that game, I was a mess. Winning the game, I really just wanted to look around that night and enjoy it as much as possible, and I know our girls did too. We told them, we'll worry about who's next on Sunday and Monday, but tonight we really just want to enjoy this, because it's been a long time for our community. When Coach Slaybaugh took them in 2005, the boys, that was the last time that we had a Final Four team at Loudonville. And for the girls basketball program, like I said, it had been over 30 years. So I really didn't want to go to sleep that night. I think I was up till 5 a.m. that night, just watching film, looking at stats, reading articles. So it was just a feeling that I'll remember forever. And looking back at the videos and seeing the joy on the faces of our players and coaches and their parents, who have driven them all over the state to AAU tournaments and cooked us meals and got my little kids gifts when they were born. Just the happiness I saw on their faces made all the work seem worthwhile.
So you make it you win the regional. Talk a little bit to people about that week of preparing for the state tournament, just kind of things that you had to do and go through.
So the support staff at Loudonville that I have deserves a ton of credit. Our superintendent, our principal, assistant principal, the teachers there, everyone else, my athletic secretary, everyone in the athletic department and with the school deserves a ton of credit because they really helped me wearing the athletic director hat and the coach hat. So we really didn't get to start looking at film as closely as we would like until about 4 o'clock on Sunday because we had a lot of administrative stuff to do. Late Saturday night, we started trying to get hotels. I'm superstitious. I'm not booking any hotels until I know we're going. So that was a gift and a curse.
Yeah. Were there any like distractions, like media?
No.
I mean, at all?
It was. I had, as a student of the game, I felt like I've tried over the years to watch as many different coaches that have done this and talk to them and get advice. So I would talk to John Buchanan at Fairland. I would talk to Denny Schrock at Chippewa, who was on our staff this year. He was a valuable resource during this time. Andy Booth at Wadsworth, and these guys are giving me suggestions over the years. I store them away. Maybe one day we'll make it and get to use them. We reached out to the media Sunday night and just said, hey, these are when the players will be available. If you can kind of try to respect these times and come at the end of these practices, I would appreciate that so that we can keep their schedule as normal as possible. We told the parents 1 team meal this week so that they can be together, but then we're going to get them home. And with the help of our administration at the school, we planned the send-off for the community so there weren't a million different people trying to organize events for the kids during the week that would wear them out. Without saying any names, I've watched some programs the past few years, and I felt like by the time it came to play, they were pretty exhausted at the end of the week. So,
there's that fine line of
you want to celebrate,
let kids enjoy it, but the other part is your purpose is go down there and play.
Everyone wants access, and you appreciate all those supporters and the excitement, but we want to go try to win. So I felt like we kept the week about as normal as possible for the girls, and I felt we had good energy during the game on Thursday, so that was good to see. I didn't want us to come out and be sleepwalking.
No, I don't think you were sleepwalking. It just couldn't make
shots.
I mean, if you would, as we said after the game, if you had the stats at the end of the game, you go, we forced 26 turnovers. You're going, man, we win, but
took more shot attempts than them. Yeah.
I mean, the stats. So one of the hardest things as a coach is, especially like you said, those 3 seniors, they meant so much to you, is when that last game that happens. Maybe talk just a little bit about what's that message that you give those kids in the locker room after it's all over.
Yeah, after the game, we just told our kids how proud we were of them. They took us to places that we hadn't been in a long time. And although it hurt that day, it was a weird feeling for me. I'm usually pretty angry after losses, and this kid didn't make shots, this kid didn't box out, I messed up this set play out of a timeout. I was at peace, and I think we could just look at each other in the room and realize, like, everyone in this room, especially the seniors and the upperclassmen, gave everything they had. And that was a cool feeling to have. This group of seniors is especially important to me because I feel like I have great relationships with their families outside of the gym. I mean, they're people that'll be friends with my wife and I forever. And I feel like you have good basketball relationships with kids at times that you coach, and then maybe you lose touch over the years when they graduate. I think that's pretty normal in any field, but these are families that I feel really close with. We talk about life. I'm so proud of these girls and how they act and how they represented their school. They're all good students. They're active in the community. So, very sad to not have the chance to coach them again in a Loudonville uniform, but also just like sitting there and thinking about everything and looking around the arena. So proud of them and just so happy for them because I knew how bad they wanted it. They wanted it really bad. So to get to go play there was really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing that you the relationships, because like you said, a lot of times you'll lose touch with a player when they go to college, but then, I mean, I have players now that, played in that 95 team that can call me every couple months just to kind of see how you're doing. And I think that the thing you brought up, the point was, this was a message I think I had for my last 10 years was, it was like every day at practice, hey, there's two things you can control is your energy and your effort. But your energy and effort always aren't going to guarantee the results you want. But I think you found out if you come with energy and effort every day, you usually get some pretty good results. And you guys had some great results this season with that team. So
thank you.
My last question, what's next? What's next for Coach Tyler Bates?
Oh, geez. Hopefully some time with my son Taysom and my brand new daughter Monroe and my wife this spring. I need to find a job. I need to find a job since I stepped away here at Loudonville at the end of the year. But I really want to keep coaching. I think we always have work to do, but I think I'm starting to figure out a couple things about coaching.
Yep.
And now would be a bad time to walk away completely and not do that anymore. So, gonna finish our banquet in April at the beginning of the month, which is really important to me because I want to celebrate our team one last time.
Yep.
And in the meantime, try to get some resume stuff ready and hopefully find another school district where I can coach and either teach or serve as an administrator, whatever they want me to do, sweep the floors and help the kids from day to day just become better and reach their goals. I really like to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, from my standpoint, appreciate you taking the time to be on the show today. There's going to be a lot of special memories that are going to continue for years with what happened. But congratulations on a great year and best of luck in the future.
Thank you, Coach. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler. Welcome back to a special tournament edition of The Joe Show. We've seen a lot of great performances by athletes all over the state since the playoffs tipped off at the end of last month. And I'm about to share the 10 best individual efforts we captured during our postseason coverage on this playoff edition of Coach B's Ballers. Our first nominee is Justice Thompson of the Crestview Cougars. This junior guard was a human highlight reel as he barely broke a sweat in scoring 30 points in the Cougars' blowout win over Bucyrus in the opening round of the tournament. Justice had an outstanding season, helping Crestview to an overall record of 22-2 and a 13-1 record in the Firelands Conference. He averaged 23 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Justice was a first-team All-District 6 selection, along with being a first-team All-Northwest District selection in Division III. Our second nominee is Grace Walton of the Upper Sandusky Rams. This junior guard scored 20 points in the Rams tournament win over Willard. The Flashes knew she could shoot, but they couldn't stop her as she knocked down 4 threes. Grace was the leading scorer in the N10 this season as she averaged 15 points per game. She was a first-team District 6 selection, a first-team Northwest District selection, and will likely be an All-Ohio selection this coming week. Our third nominee is Julian Washington of the Margaretta Polar Bears. This super sophomore sparked a fourth-quarter comeback in the Division III District semifinals against Crestview. Julian scored 24 points and grabbed 7 rebounds in helping his team overcome an 11-point deficit to win this game. The Polar Bears were the district champs and won their regional semifinal game over Worthington Christian. Margaretta fell in the regional finals to OG and Ohio State commit Colin White. Julian averaged over 20 points a game and was a first-team selection in District 6 and in the Northwest District. Our fourth nominee is Braden Fogel of the Lexington Minutemen. Fogel scored 18 points, all in the second half, grabbed 8 rebounds and blocked 2 shots in Lex's overtime win over Willard in the Division II District semifinals. Braden was clutch as he buried a corner 3 to put the game into overtime and then hit a contested 15-foot jump shot in the last seconds to win the game for the Minutemen. This sophomore was the Ohio Cardinal Conference Player of the Year, first team District 6, first team Northwest District in Division II. He was a key to Lex's 22-2 season and undefeated OCC championship. Our fifth nominee is Grant Bentley of the Northmore Golden Knights. This senior scored a total of 55 points, grabbed 15 rebounds, and pilfered 8 steals in the Knights sectional final and district semifinal games. In the sectional final, he scored 23 points in the third quarter, and then in their district semifinal game, he scored 17 points in the fourth quarter. Grant was selected as the KMAC Player of the Year, District 11 Division IV Player of the Year, and the Central District Division IV Player of the Year. He averaged 19 points a game, grabbed 5 rebounds, dished out 2 assists, and had a steal and a half a game. He led the Knights to a share of the KMAC title and an appearance in the district finals. Our sixth nominee is Corey Vermillion of the Loudonville Redbirds. Corey scored 48 points in the Redbirds' 2 district games, along with 33 points in their 2 regional wins. And she had a total of 124 points in their school's second trip ever to the state Final Four. Corey was the runner-up to Dee Alexander for Miss Basketball in the state of Ohio. She helped her team to an outstanding record of 26-3 this past season and scored over 2,000 points in her high school career. This first-team All-Ohio candidate will be playing for Ashland University next season. Our seventh nominee is Alex Brushgotter of the Shelby Whippets. Alex scored 27 points, going 5 of 7 from the field and 15 of 16 from the free throw line as the Whippets took down number 1 ranked Lutheran West in the Division II regional finals at Bowling Green State University on Saturday afternoon. Brushgotter was the MOAC Player of the Year, District 6 Player of the Year, Northwest District Player of the Year, and a finalist for Ohio's Mr. Basketball. This Wright State University commit will lead his team to the Division II State Final Four this weekend as Shelby will take on Zanesville-Maysville in the 2 p.m. state semifinal game on Saturday afternoon. Our eighth nominee is Colin White of the Ottawa-Glandorf Titans. Colin scored 26 points and grabbed 11 rebounds in the Titans' regional final win over Margaretta on Saturday night. This is Colin's 4th consecutive trip with his Titan teammates to the state Final Four. He averaged 25 points a game, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2.5 steals this year. For his career, he has scored 1,995 points, which is only 5 points away from becoming the first player in OG and Putnam County history to score over 2,000 points. Over his 4-year career, the Titans are 94-15 and have been the state runner-up in Division III the past 2 years. Colin will be a 3-time first-team All-Ohio player and today was selected as the state's Mr. Basketball for this season. He will be taking his talents to the Ohio State University next season. Our ninth nominee is Danielle Cameron of the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs. Danielle scored 19 points, grabbed 7 rebounds, and dished out 3 assists in the Bulldogs' 52-45 win over Springboro in the Division I Girls State Championship game. She also scored 19 points and collected 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 steals in her team's state semifinal win over Rocky River Magnificant. This is Olmsted Falls' first state championship after placing second in the 2023 state tournament. Olmsted Falls was raining threes in both their games this past weekend as they went 10 of 19 in their semifinal and then made another 10 threes again in the state championship game. And our 10th nominee is Bryn Martin of Springboro. This junior guard scored a Division I state record 38 points and leading Springboro to a 63-54 win over Pickerington Central in the state semifinal game. Bryn shot 13 of 23 from the floor and 13 of 14 from the free throw line. She scored 17 points in the first half and then scored 13 of her team's 17 points in the third quarter. She also grabbed 8 rebounds and had 4 steals. Martin broke the Division I semifinal scoring record of 32 points held by Michelle White of Hudson in 2003, and the Division I tournament record of 34 points held by Jody Roth of Shelby in 1983. We'll post these nominees for a fan vote tomorrow to determine which of my ballers had the best performance of the tournament. But what about the best individual play? I'll send it over to Brian with his top 10 cuts from postseason action.
All right, thanks, Coach Balogh. A lot of amazing individual performances, of course, on the tournament trail picked up by our cameras throughout their journeys. But now it's time for the best individual plays that we've captured over these last 4 weeks for the boys up through the states. And then, of course, the girls have their entire season in the books. This was not easy to narrow down to 10, and there's a couple of cop-outs on here. You'll see what I mean. No vote necessary. These are my top 10 cuts of the tournament. Roll them. Here they come, the top 10 cuts tournament style, all presented by Buckeye Horizon. Since this is a playoff countdown, we better pack some punch fresh off the tip, just like JFK's Nick Ryan did in a regional win against Dayton, flushing down a transition jam that he created for himself. Ryan would finish off the night with 23 points in a revenge win over the Bulldogs, punching the Eagles' ticket to the Elite Eight and grabbing a spot on our top 10 with that two-handed smash. We've got a double dip of quarter-ending fun at top cut number 9. And peep the facial expression coming up from Clear Fork's Brinley Barnett, cashing in a 3-point check just before the half in a sectional championship victory over Huron down in the Valley. And then in the district semis, their MOAC rivals at Pleasant would take the lead at the end of the first quarter, courtesy of Miss Ava Still, burying that bucket right there. And a big shout out to the Banks, staying open late during tournament hours. More district semi action coming up, but we're taking you above the rim this time. Shelby's Casey Lansko skywalking over a pack of TY Tigers and immediately takes his momentum back on defense to snag an interception like a defensive back on the gridiron. Awesome action at both ends with the double stuffed Oreo off the inbounds, and Casey's not done eating yet, zooming back on defense to come up with an impressive theft and a win over Senior High. Back to the ladies now at number 7, and you don't see too many pilfers quite like this one from Loudonville's Corey Vermilia as she goes ripping and running for an awesome left-handed layup after that crazy steal. We got to take a second look in slow-mo to see the runner-up for Miss Basketball do what she do best, exchanging a takeaway for a couple of points en route to a state Final Four berth. Next up, we've got a 2-pack of wild layups from sensational sophomore Julian Washington. The first one here in a comeback win over state-ranked Crestview. Now check out this and one on the way in the regional finals at BG as he goes contorting his body to evade the defender, and these top cuts look even more impressive at half speed, displaying the body control like a gymnast in flight, and Margaretta still gets this kid for 2 more seasons. Look out, SBC. Let's see some more regional excellence as we crack the top 5, and this is all Sophia Spangler throughout. She's going to take her time after collecting the steal, then we'll proceed to dribble around not 1, 2, 3, or 4, but all 5 Springfield Tigers on her way to an unbelievable left-handed hook shot, plus the foul to add even more pepper on the steak. We gotta run this one back to see Spangler tearing up the defense like a paper shredder and caps it off with the graceful bucket that would help Loudonville win the regional crown. Another pair of amazing highlights on the way at number 4, beginning in the closing seconds of the first quarter where Richmond Heights' Damaris Winters pours in the circus shot to beat the horn. Then later in the night, same hoop, similar shot, and more crazy results with Lucas Bordner tossing it up and under for Seneca East. One more look at each of these insane finishes in slow-mo makes you question the laws of physics as each defies gravity with these unbelievably wild buckets. Moving into the top 3, and somebody might want to get a poster ready. Here's my call from Bowling Green. You could feel the impact of this dunk reverberate throughout a sold-out Stroh Center as the Ohio State commit brought down the house to help OG earn a 4th straight regional crown. He may have been wearing gym shorts, but Lexington's Braden Fogle played like he was rocking clutch jeans at the end of this top 10 battle against number 7 Willard. That's just the sophomore's second made three-pointer of the season, and it ties the game in the closing seconds to force overtime, where Fogle had a second act. Game tied, closing seconds, bottoms. Braden proved that lightning indeed can strike twice in the same spot with a pair of game-winning plays inside of the arena. But it's been said that to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And at Top Cut number 1, Shelby's taking the lead for good over the top team in D2 with a momentous smash burger from Casey Lance. We got to show it to you again as the Whippets break the vaunted pressure of Lutheran West. Leak out pass from Brady DeVito, and Lance gonna raise the roof with a thunderous throwdown to help send Shelby to the program's first ever state Final Four appearance. Those are your top tournament cuts, presented by our good friends at Buckeye Horizon. And speaking of those Shelby Whippets going on to the Final Four for the first time in program history, they held a special media day on Monday. Of course, OH Report was in the house. We're going to show you comments from a lot of the different seniors and Coach Galloway, and then after that, you're going to learn every player's role on the team. That's coming up after a quick commercial timeout.
It out, and for Shelby fans, there's a new byline in your history books. The greatest team in program history continues to march. We're headed to Dayton next week. 55-46, the Whippets do what many thought was impossible. They knock off the #1 team in the state by 9.
We aren't, we have goals as a team, but it wasn't something like that we put in our locker room that we looked at every day before practice and stuff. Our guys just had a good idea on what that was. Sometimes when you think about results so much, you lose the process. And we wanted to say, with the process, that's, take days at a time, take games at a time, not look ahead. So I think, when results do happen, it's when you stay level-headed and you just worry about yourself day in, day out.
Seniors, I think every year that I've ever coached, there's always a point in the season where you have to see that it can go like this or it can go like this. Was there ever a point in the season, like a turning point, that you said that for this basketball team, that you felt like you were going to face some adversity and then you got in the right direction? I mean, you won like 19 games in a row here haven't lost since the beginning of the year, but was there a point in the season where maybe you guys were wavering at all?
I'll say there was, this is just what I feel like, 2 points in the season. One was after we beat Findlay. That was kind of I'll start with the bottom first. When we lost to Lex as our second loss of the year, that's when we were kind of like, man, we're really not that good. Like, we're up in all these polls and all this, but I mean, we just lost to Lex. Like, we're struggling right now. Like, we need to find ourselves because we're not playing up to our potential. And then I think we kind of just stopped taking shortcuts. We started doing things the right way, and that just came like we just did the right things day after day. And like he said, like, we started valuing the process a lot more. And then I think when we got wins like Findlay, we kind of just realized like we're on the right track and we're taking the right steps to unlock our potential.
As I look around at the four seniors here, you guys all, just your demeanor, you're pretty laid back kids. when you're on the court, you're great competitors, of course. But since you two are up here right now, if you'll just speak on your leadership qualities and what you feel like you bring to the table to bring that and the confidence to the team collectively as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, my role stepped up huge. I mean, last year I was a kid where I was afraid to, take a shot. And, for the team, it was best if I did take shots. And my teammates and, everyone really helped me, get my confidence back. And, I mean, I'd miss a shot. I remember the Lexington game, I shot 4 threes, I think. And 2 of the threes, Alex and Casey both got rebounds on. And, they scored off of it, and it ended up helping us. So I think that's where, in leadership-wise or confidence-wise, I stepped up.
I'll say my role as a leader is more not telling people what to do or stop shooting or shoot more. I just try to be the calm guy, just to calm everyone down or get everybody just in the right mindset. If we're playing too tight, I just be it's just a game, chill out, let's just play. So I'd say that's kind of how I do my leadership.
How much confidence, you can take over a game, but how much confidence do you have knowing that sometimes you don't have to because you have so many great players around you with Isaiah, with Casey, everybody else that comes into this game, knowing that sometimes you don't have to take it over yourself?
Yeah, and I really haven't had to take over games this year, so I know what they can do. Obviously, I've been playing with them for a while, so I know they're comfortable in those tight situations, and I know I can trust them to go get a bucket or get a stop. It's really easy to play and it's easy for me to be comfortable in those situations, knowing that I have these guys by my side.
How much confidence going into this week does that give you after the performance you put up against Lutheran?
It gives us a lot of confidence, but there's a line between confidence and arrogance, and we can't cross that line to go and have arrogance going in state because everyone's really good in state. But we have a lot of confidence and where we feel really good about our odds. But the big thing is we're taking one day at a time, and we're not looking at Sunday, we're looking at Saturday.
Coach, we've been talking to the boys about this all year about the Red Range and how they've just they've been able to pump you guys up. How great has it, especially for this year? I mean, they've been amazing student section for years now, but how great has it been to have them behind you guys this whole year? They've been giving us their sheets, they do their homework, they do their pregame stuff, but to have them on your side, it's gonna be a cool feeling.
It is, yeah. It's a true 6-man for us out there. They just bring. We talked about it Saturday at the game, let's make plays to get our crowd involved, and we did that, and they've been doing that all year. No matter if we go to Finlay to play, go to OG to play Finlay. I mean, so it's been incredible. They've done a great job. Our guys are really appreciative of them. After the game, it's the first thing that they do is, as soon as we're done shaking hands, they're going in the Red Rage and are getting, in those huddles and cheering with them. So we're just really appreciative of them, and they don't maybe realize how much of an impact that they have for us through this tournament run.
Coach, I know it's going to be all business this week because you guys have the main goal of winning semifinal in the state championship, but when you get down there, is there going to be a time to let the boys just enjoy being there, because there's not a lot of players in the state of Ohio that have a chance to be able to do this throughout their 4 years of their careers compared to you guys now having a chance?
Absolutely. One thing over the weekend that, from having coaches just connect through texts or calls or emails that has been consistent from around our area, our retired coaches, is to enjoy it. Some coaches that have been there and saying, if there's one thing that I regret, it was we didn't really take in time to just enjoy our experience down in Columbus, whether it was there or Dayton. So that's something that we've already talked about today. This is going to be a week that we're really going to soak it in. We're going to enjoy it. But one thing that we talked about too was we don't want to be a team that just feels to be at our high getting to Dayton, because I know that's, it's a huge goal to get down there, but we're going to enjoy it, but we also have business that we want to take care of.
As you just saw, the Shelby boys basketball team is headed to the state Final Four for the first time after upsetting state number 1 Lutheran West in the Division II regional finals at Bowling Green State University. The Whippets have made plenty of program history already this season, with a record 25 victories, 5th straight league title, and now the team's first regional championship. And while Shelby has some incredible basketball players, it's evident that each member of the team clearly understands their role, which they outlined for us at a special media day event earlier in the week.
Well, basically, I'm just a guy who helps my guys get ready for practice, any type of game, keep everybody loose, or help us stay upbeat or just make sure we're doing what we can to get a W.
I give them good energy on the bench. I get everybody, like Rick, riled up on the bench. And then during practice, I get them ready for the games.
I think my role is, I don't know if you guys have seen any of the bench celebrations, but me, Eli, and we've done a lot of those, so just bringing energy and getting everyone fired up for during the game and having the guys see that on the court is a big role.
It's an underrated role, I would say.
Yeah.
I would say my role is to be able to hit the shot when it's my turn and to keep intensity high on defense, have a great motor, and just keep the guys hyped in the court.
Yeah, I'm also one of the guys on the bench. Our free throw celebrations are pretty lit, and then I definitely help the guys out with about information about other teams before we even play them. They always know who to go to.
I'd probably say definitely help the team out with some energy. Do what I can, do the best I can to help out, and then keep the guys relaxed and connected.
I'll say my role is make sure the bench uses all their celebrations. That's it.
I'd say my role is taking some pressure off of our ball handlers. And, when they're getting pressured, a few games, the Lex game and a senior high game, to, kind of take control and, take some shots and, take the ball sometimes. And, yeah, play defense and give high intensity.
I would say my role is defense and then just doing the little things, whether that's a screen or a box out or scoring 10 points one game, just whatever I need to do to help the team get a win.
I think my role is just being an energizer, doing the gritty things and making the gritty plays that no one really wants to make, and just making sure everybody stays connected.
I think I'm most excited for this answer. Let me get
I would say my role is to come off the bench, guard their best player and not make them happy on the court. I'm normally face guarding, so I'm just going to be up in your grill. And most people from other schools don't like who I am because that's how I play. And just keep everyone connected and get the energy going off the bench.
My role is to help the team get ready with practice during the week and bring energy off the bench.
I'd say I try to keep everybody loose. I feel like we play our best basketball when we're not uptight and just playing our game. My dad obviously coached for a while, so I've been around basketball for a long time, so I know how to do that. If that's playing basketball, playing music before the games or just dancing around, I try to make sure our guys are loose and having fun.
Part of the bench celebrations, it's definitely me, and just getting people ready in practice.
I think part of my role on the team as being one of the youngest is just having a positive attitude, because that carries on to everyone else's attitudes on and off the court and during practice and during games.
The Whippets will compete in the state Final Four for the first time in the program's long history, taking on unranked Maysville on Saturday at 2 p.m. You can watch the game right here on the OH Report on a special audio cast, followed by a full highlight video of the game. And we will carry the Division II state championship in the same capacity when the Whippets advance. As we wrap up season 2 of the Joe Show, I would first like to thank Brian, Jory, Travis, the whole crew here at the OH Report for all their work. It's been a lot of fun. I would also like to congratulate the Loudonville Redbirds on their trip to the Final Four this past weekend at the University of Dayton Arena, and would like to wish the best of luck this weekend as the boys Shelby basketball team competes in the Division II State Final Four en route to a Division II state championship.